Good evening, everyone. All right, thank you so much. We're going to have a little fun here tonight. My name is Darryl Glenn, and I am an unapologetic Christian constitutional conservative, pro-life, Second Amendment loving American. And I am a proud Republican. Now, there's a reason why I brought that up, because when you think about Republicans, at least when you're listening to the Democrats, they say, well, how can you be a Republican and be black? And first of all, I didn't realize I was black. We've lived under an administration over the past 7.5 years. He was the great uniter, right? We're more racially divided today than we were back then. And so today I'm going to share with you some of the stories that I have heard on the campaign trail. But I'm always asked, what are you going to do about minority outreach? And I always say, I wake up every single morning and I shake hands in the mirror. See, I was raised differently. I was raised in a military family. Both parents served. My father was a chief master sergeant, and when he got out, then my mother decided she wanted to join. My father was in the Air Force, and my mom was like, well, I'm going to join the Army. So we had inter-service rivalries all the time. She stayed in long enough to retire as a lieutenant colonel. I like to highlight the fact that when you start thinking about how you were raised, they imparted in me one thing, that do not grow up with a chip on your shoulder. You're going to need to work hard. Time's tough, but you might fail, but it's how you get up. But do not use your race as an excuse. And see, what's unique about that, they were both Democrats. But I grew up as a Reagan conservative, and they're still trying to figure out how that happened. I ran for my first political office in 9th grade on a Reagan conservative tax cut platform. I won that election, ladies and gentlemen. I continued that through high school. Ended up being my junior and senior class president. And I just recently pulled out my class picture. Graduated from Doherty High School. I think we had about 500 some odd people in that graduating class. And needless to say, it was pretty easy to find me. There weren't a lot of us there. But it didn't matter, and that's what I'm trying to emphasize to people, that when you're listening to what's happening today, everything is about race. It's not about race, ladies and gentlemen. It's about hard work. But there's more. They gave me the confidence to go to the Air Force Academy. I graduated in 1988, and that's when I took my first oath of office. I spent 21.5 years in the military. During that time, I went to school at night, got my master's in business administration, and then I went to law school. And there's nothing better than going to law school in Massachusetts with a bunch of liberals studying constitutional law. I love that. Came back home, got involved in local government, on city council, spent 8 years there, and now as a county commissioner, I'm still there today. The reason why I'm telling you this is because if you listen to the Democrats will tell you, and the president will tell you, that I'm lucky. It's not about luck, ladies and gentlemen. It's about hard work. Now, I was not here yesterday morning, but I heard there were some interesting events that were happening outside. Some protests. Protesting Donald Trump. I find it ironic how you have the left that loves to preach to us about, oh, we love tolerance, we love fairness, we want everybody to be equal, unless you disagree with them. I'm going to be a little bit politically incorrect right now, ladies and gentlemen, because I've got a lot to get off of my chest. When I heard the fact that there were posters out there saying, hate this, hate that, a poster with Donald Trump with a noose around his neck, how do you think that that feels as a black man? When you think about, let's talk about race, let's talk about diversity. Look at the presidential slate that we had. We had the entire Rainbow Coalition. And I love them all. Now, what would happen if Ben Carson was our nominee? Are we going to put a poster up there with a noose around his neck? I want the people here that were out there doing that, I want you to think about that for 1 second. Because I'm here to say that while I might not agree with everything that Donald Trump says, I proudly stand with Donald Trump. See, when I grew up, and what I've been watching these days is we have opportunists that happen to be opportunists of color. You know, I remember being told when I was on city council with the Black Leadership Forum, and they would continue to tell me, well, why are you a Republican? You should be a Democrat. And I look at them and I say, well, why? Explain to me why. And they didn't have an explanation. I'm just supposed to be a Democrat because of my skin color. I'm sorry, I stand with freedom. I stand with liberty. I also think about what's happening in the world today. We need to come together, and it is my job. It is my job, and I'm taking it as a personal responsibility to deliver Colorado for Donald Trump. Because we have to do this. I plan on going into those neighborhoods that Republicans traditionally won't go. I plan on going into those same neighborhoods that Democrats basically take us for granted. They think just because, hey, you know, you're black, you're supposed to vote for the Democrats. That's wrong, ladies and gentlemen. We need to start standing up for freedom and liberty. I'm still waiting for Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton to come. You know, Al Sharpton that doesn't even pay for his own suits. These people, I'm going to highlight them, do not speak for me, ladies and gentlemen. They don't speak for all black people, ladies and gentlemen. We need to shine the light on them. We need to show the fact that when you start thinking about freedom and liberty, personal responsibility, and opportunity to achieve the American dream, the Republican Party is the best party to do that. Let's stand for that. So, I just wanted to be very clear because I tried to get up here. My schedule has been out there. I've been busy. But I really wanted to get up here and stand on the stage with Mr. Trump. But I want to be very clear. He is our nominee. That needs to be formalized, but he went through the process. He got the appropriate votes, and he is going to be our nominee. And we need to come together as a party because guess what, ladies and gentlemen? The alternative is unacceptable. See, Santa Claus is already out of the race. Mr. I'm going to promise everything. He's already out of the race. But now we have Hillary Clinton. And I think you know how I feel about Hillary Clinton. I think is she still at her meeting right now with the FBI? I'm just wondering about that. We cannot allow, this is a generational election, ladies and gentlemen. It's extremely important for us to realize that. And the reason why. We have an administration right now that has failed to identify the enemy, failed to identify the fact that radical Islamic terrorism is real. We must identify the enemy and call the enemy for what it is. Ladies and gentlemen, when you start thinking about who to vote for, I think about some of the people that I met on the campaign trail. I had an 18-year-old young man come up to me. He was going to enlist in the military, in the Army. I tried to switch him to the Air Force, but he said no. But he was going to enlist into the Army the next day, and he came up to me concerned about his country, wanting to know the status of the military. And I can tell you, I said, son, the military, we don't care about what party you're in. What we care about is we want to make sure that with a change of administration, that we will give you the tools, training, and equipment to do your job, that we will take care of you when you come home. And to all of our friends and allies out there, if you threaten the United States, if you threaten Israel, if you threaten any of our friends, we will unleash the power of the greatest fighting force that has ever seen, and that's the United States military, ladies and gentlemen. See, there's a war going on, ladies and gentlemen. We're being fought abroad and even at our homeland. Orlando, it's still heavy on my heart, and I think about that. I immediately received a phone call, of course, from a left-leaning paper wanting to essentially say, well, was this a hate crime? Let me tell you, if there's a crime against any American, we should all unite behind that, ladies and gentlemen. This isn't Republican, Democrat. This isn't unaffiliated. I don't care what your sex is. I don't care about any of that. You're an American. That's what I care about. We need to be serious about our borders. We need to be serious about the fact that we need to wake up and pay attention to what's happening within our neighborhoods. This is an opportunity for us to come together. That's what I'm proud of, us coming together. That's why it's so important to go into the neighborhoods. For conservatives to go into the neighborhoods and have those discussions about personal responsibility. There's no tougher job than being a single mom. So I'm going to speak a little bit to the men right now. Men, I'm telling you, I have 2 adult daughters. And the men in this audience and people that are listening, you need to step up and do your job. There's nothing tougher than being a single mom, having to work 2 and 3 jobs to be able to make sure that their kids are safe and secure. And it weighs heavy on me that men are not stepping up and doing their job. We need to do that. And that's not something that you traditionally hear Republicans say, but that's what we stand for. We stand for family values. We stand for personal responsibility. We stand for not living off of the government, because guess what, ladies and gentlemen? That's not freedom. That's not liberty. Each and every one of us want our child and our children to be able to live the American dream. I'm here to tell you that the American dream is alive and well, and we can come together and do that. We have a tough road ahead of us, but we can do it. On the campaign trail, I always try to emphasize the fact that we need to battle 2 things: trust and unbelief. I bring up trust because people are tired of politicians saying one thing and then getting into office and completely forgetting about all the promises that they've made. Trust has been broken. We must recognize that fact, ladies and gentlemen. So what are we going to do? We need to make sure that as conservatives that we go out there and we talk to people. We need to ask that why question. We need to find out what is it that we're doing to ruin that trust. And it's about listening, especially here in Colorado. When you start thinking about the Iran nuclear deal, when you start thinking about Obamacare, when you start thinking about the excessive government regulations, guess what? Michael Bennet supported all those. We have an opportunity to do something about that, and I'm asking for your help to be able to shine the light on that. We have an opportunity in Colorado to come together and unite and be that battleground state and show that the face of the Republican Party represents all of us. Yes, I might happen to have a great tan. But it's not about that, ladies and gentlemen. It's about the American dream. The American dream is unique for each and every one of you. And this party, the Republican Party, is why I am standing with the Republican Party. I am so proud. I'm so proud of this state. I'm so proud of the people that have helped me get to this point. But we must come together. We must come together and realize the fact that the challenge is important. There is evil in this world. But we just must remember that the battle has already been fought and won, and we can do that. It's a tough mountain. It's a tough mountain. It's high. When you think about how we're going to get there, some people can run up it. Some people can walk. But if you need to crawl, if you can't make it, I will put you on my back. I will get you to the top of that mountain. I'm going to deliver Colorado for the Republican Party. But I need your help. So let me be clear. I know we had a very tough primary election when it comes to the presidential slate. And your guy might not be in it. But I'm asking you to do one simple thing. On one hand, I want you to put Mr. Trump and all the frustration that you have with regard to whether it's not your guy and the things that he said. But on the other hand, I want you to put the Supreme Court. And if you're concerned about religious liberty, if you're concerned about Second Amendment rights, if you're concerned about a generational election, I'm calling on you to stand with me and stand with Donald Trump, and let's win this election. Because I am not going to allow Hillary Clinton to win this election. I'm going to do everything in my power to remove her from her pantsuit and put her in a jumpsuit, ladies and gentlemen. We must come together. We must come together. I just want to say in closing, God bless each and every one of you. God bless this great state, and God bless the United States of America. Let's go get them.